Hi there, welcome to the Fierce Factor podcast. I'm your host, Kaylee Lindholm. And I think it's time for us women to shift the conversation in business and step into our feminine leadership to do the most iconic work the aesthetic industry has ever seen. Each week, I'll be bringing a powerful dose of strategy, sarcasm, solutions, and sass that will rev up your creativity and ignite your brilliance as you link arms with me along our shared path of personal and professional growth in 20 minutes or less. Let's go. Hello, leader. Welcome back to the Fierce Factor podcast. It's your host, Kaylee here, and you are tuning in to episode number 282. I am recording this podcast on the heels of our 5-day Spark Sprint, which is our confident leadership intensive for female entrepreneurs and leaders in the aesthetics and wellness space who are looking for a quick, high impact experience to build the blueprint and clarity for the next 90 days. And wow, was I blown away by the enrollment, engagement, and feedback we got from the aesthetic community, from you all. And we really are just at such a pivotal turning point in aesthetics, facing the friction of a contracting economy, the commoditization of information spiraling us into a looming trust recession, and a tidal wave I didn't anticipate with the PE roll-ups in aesthetics, a new class of talented injectors fed up with the consequences of these consolidations. I'm hearing routinely that injectors are feeling increasingly restricted in their clinical decision-making authority due to corporate, price-driven purchasing contracts with private equity, most often prioritizing profitability over patient outcomes, let's be honest. Many tell me this has fostered a culture where the practice focus shifts from providing personalized care to meeting these financial benchmarks, often at the expense of the patient. I also hear constant complaints of the slower adoption of new products and innovation because of this cumbersome corporate approval process. One injector shared with me that she wasn't even able to recommend her favorite skincare product anymore because there's a new 4 to 6 week review process by the purchasing board. Her words to me were, everything has changed. Working for PE is hindering my ability to offer cutting edge solutions to my patients. What's on the line is more than just my reputation. Wow. So here we see the shifts. While these injectors were persuaded by big future payouts and some lucrative signing bonuses, the push toward cookie cutter operations has begun to dilute their personal branding, their outcomes, and ultimately their ability to excel in their craft, making it challenging for injectors to build connections with patients and grow their book of business the way they want to grow it. And a discussion around this industry dynamic could be its own podcast. Listen, goddess, each of us are feeling the pressure in our own unique way, regardless of our circumstances. So while we at KLC specialize in work with female founders crossing their next $1 million milestone, it was so eye-opening and also exciting to have a solid cohort of Spark attendees who were peering into their own next chapter, many of them women teetering with the decision of making the leap to start their own business. Our mission to help 1,000 inspiring and intentional women achieve their highest potential to cross their next $1 million milestone in their business inspires smart female leaders to come to us early, to learn the frameworks, habits, and systems that will set them up for success. That's why I built the Fierce Factor Society, a launch pad for the ambitious female who knows she is meant for more, is ready to push herself out of her comfort zone to optimize her personal best, but may not have the infrastructure built quite yet to be the best fit for our Pop Leadership Academy. And we all know that before you can build $1 million business, you have to cultivate a $1 million mindset. So you might be with me here today with that little voice in your head telling you you're ready to level up. It might feel like frustration that you take home at the end of the day, or it might feel like a dream you're waiting to manifest. And I've been there. I started KLC almost 10 years ago. And quite frankly, that little chip on my shoulder has never gone away. And I've never worked harder. But the difference for me now is this: the work I do every day is recognized and appreciated by the people I do it for in just the most rewarding way. I mean, I don't even have words for it. There's no doubt in my mind that being a business owner is my life's calling. Leadership is my passion, and building KLC And recording this podcast has been a creative dream come true. But as I have personally intimately guided over 600 female entrepreneurs through this journey, I will also tell you with confidence that business ownership is not for everyone. And we have no shortage of access to information out there about starting a business. But what I want to bring you here is an unfiltered perspective of what it really takes to start a business in aesthetics and medical wellness. Now, I want to make this clear from the start. My goal isn't to scare you out of business ownership or to imply that you might not have what it takes, because you absolutely do. But like anything worthwhile in life, there is a price to pay in order to achieve it. And you deserve to have the appropriate knowledge to make an educated decision whether the cost is worth the effort and the timing is right for you. So you can walk into your dream practice with clarity, confidence, and a solid plan. Because yes, building a successful practice is absolutely possible, but only if you understand the demands and prepare accordingly. So let's dive in. According to the Small Business Administration, I'm sure you've heard stats like this, approximately 20% of new businesses fail within their first year, and about half don't make it past 5. So let's just acknowledge that entrepreneurship is a rare and admirable achievement, and it's one where strategy, resilience, and knowledge are going to be your best allies. I recently shared a book called The E-Myth with our Fierce Factor Society book club. I highly recommend picking up this book if you're thinking about starting a business, or if you are a business owner and you haven't read this one. Michael Gerber discusses that many entrepreneurs start their business because they have a skill and they feel so passionate about that skill that they want to do it more, they want to do it better, and they want to have the autonomy to do it their own way on their own time. They have what he calls an entrepreneurial seizure, meaning taking their craft. So for me, coaching, for you, maybe it's injecting or treating patients. For one of my girlfriends, practicing law, and another interior decorating, and turning it into a business. He shares in this book that the skill of building and growing a business is also its own craft that requires hundreds of hours of research, practice, and experience. So to set the stage here, imagine having to learn a brand new skill, to essentially start from scratch, to be bad at something, to see yourself floundering, to have to invest hundreds of hours of learning about business and leadership just to turn your passion into something that you can sustainably monetize and grow. Many business owners start out assuming that their clinical skills or their craft will automatically translate into business success. And don't get me wrong, being an excellent provider is critical and certainly the baseline, but owning and growing a thriving practice involves so much more. For starters, number one, energy and time. Starting a practice requires a level of relentless dedication that's almost psychopathic. Showing up every day, often with long hours, missing out on fun and often important personal milestones, regularly with moments of doubt and imposter syndrome. Can you imagine constantly doubting yourself and whether your vision is worth it? Maybe you took a huge leap. Maybe you took a big investment that detracted from something else you maybe were going to use for the family. And you get into the thick of it and you're like, I don't even know if I'm going to make it work. Many female founders underestimate the investment in time and energy it will take to grow their clientele. They think it will be easy and patients will follow them wherever they go. And some will, but many will not. Even ones who you thought were your diehard loyal patients, they might find it more of a hassle to start over again, to drive somewhere unfamiliar, to trust a brand new experience when they've settled into a rhythm at an existing location. Hey there, goddess. If you have been craving some human connection and inspiration, I want to invite you to join us for the Super Bowl of coaching advisory at KLC. But the Alt Experience 2026. I cannot be more excited for this in-person immersive experience for ambitious female founders in aesthetics and wellness. And guess what? I have something special for you. Now is the moment to grab the woman that you spill all of your entrepreneurial tea with. Mark your calendar, because on Monday, September 22nd, for one day only, we're offering something we've never done before, the Injectorpreneur Bestie Bundle. Register over the alt experience with your entrepreneurial colleague. And together, you guys can step away from overwhelm of the day-to-day and into a space where you'll be inspired by provocative thinking and transformed by the mindset shifts that, listen, are just not happening anywhere else in our industry. Over 2.5 days in Newport Beach on April 16th to 18th, you'll join 50 women to have the conversations that, everyone's thinking about, but no one is talking about. Join us to uplift alternative thinking, dynamic leadership, and high growth business strategies that actually move the needle. And listen, I know leadership can be lonely, but you don't have to do it alone. Head over to klcconsultants.com/alt besties now to let us know who you'd like to share this promotion with. We'll send you the details first, so you're ready when the offer goes live on September 22nd for your bestie discount. Space is extremely limited, so applications will be accepted on a first come, first served basis. I can't wait to share this experience with you, Goddess. I'll see you there. Now, as a service provider, imagine the time it will take to treat your patients, but add on the commitment of sales, marketing, financial planning, patient follow-ups, rebookings, building new systems, treatment plans, protocols, intake forms. The list goes on and on and on. And if your plan is to hire people, get ready for a whole new opportunity to learn and grow. Finding the right people, making sure they all have their documentation and marching orders, and then ensuring that they are onboarded and managed in their day-to-day tasks. It's exhilarating and, to be honest, also exhausting, both physically and emotionally. Another thing that many new business owners underestimate are the financial realities. Now, let's get real about what it's going to cost. Starting a medical aesthetic practice isn't cheap. You'll need investments in high quality equipment, training, licensing, insurance, branding, marketing, consultants, all the things, you name it. Plus, don't forget the ongoing expenses, staff salaries, rent, supplies, and these are things just to keep the lights on. Many new owners underestimate how much funding they'll need. So my advice is to sit down and create a detailed financial plan. Budget for startup costs, and reserve enough cash flow to cover at least the first 6 to 12 months of operation. Having a financial buffer is so critical. I can't emphasize this enough, so that you can plan for unexpected curveballs. You can have the space to ramp up slower than anticipated if need be. And also there will be slower seasons. These things do happen. Having ample cash flow and reserves also allows you the ability to take risks. If you're so strapped for cash that you don't have the luxury of trying something new that could fail, this in itself can stunt your growth. Slow and steady is the key. Don't overextend yourself. Invest first and foremost in coaching and advisory to help handhold you through your executive decisions. Remember, starting a business means you have the final say. And more often than not, your mom, your best friend, or your husband probably isn't a successful business owner and may not necessarily have the insight or the unbiased objective to be your sounding board. They may be, but maybe not. And trust me, having a thought partner whose opinion doesn't hinge upon their best interest is invaluable through this process. The third thing to think about is just a proof of concept. I see so many injectors will come to me and say, I was so slammed and in demand at my last practice, so I'm just going to pop up something next door and it's just all that cash is going to be mine. Not so much. No matter how talented and in demand you are in your current practice, opening a new business in an existing market will require some serious planning. So start by thinking about what's missing in the market that you plan to build in, not just to be another me too of something else. What is the gap? You'll want to clarify your business idea and core value proposition. Your mission, vision, and values will inform your entire business plan. So start by testing the market. What's the most low friction way to determine how much demand exists for this new concept? It might look like doing some market research via consumer surveys and interviews, or it might look like renting a room in the area for 3 to 6 months and building demand for your target clientele. I've seen many founders set up shop with big overhead commitments only to find that the location they chose wasn't quite as fruitful as they had expected. So you'll want to test for not just new leads, but ideal leads. Are the people you're attracting affluent enough to invest in optimal results? Do they have a network of like-minded friends and family to refer to? And you'll want to draft a basic business plan answering the question, how will we make money? Which brings me to part number 4, setting up the foundation. Here's where the planning happens. And to be honest, you can run about 80% of this piece through ChatGPT and by asking other colleagues, but you need to do the work. The most important things are business model planning and setting up legal and financial structures. So you'll want to estimate your startup costs early, which means calculating what your monthly burn will be, what is the runway for growth, deciding on legal structures, checking what permits are required or licenses that you need in your market or location, opening up a business bank account, creating a basic financial forecast. So looking at 3 to 12 months and how you're going to price your services and what kind of demand you'll need to hit those goals. You'll want to protect any of your IP, trademarks, copyrights, patents, any of that kind of stuff is needed. And then build what we call a minimum viable product, or we talked about a proof of concept or a pilot to get your first customers in the door. You're going to ask yourself, what is the value proposition? What specific customer problem am I solving? What are the demographics, behaviors, pain points, et cetera? And then comparing that to what the demand is in that specific geography. So again, you also want to look at your competitive analysis. If you're leaving a practice and you're going somewhere nearby, you already know you have competition. But you want to look at your direct and indirect competitors. What are their substitutions for? What kind of differentiation is there? Again, finding that gap for yourself and then figuring out how you're going to fund. So you'll have startup costs. You may have capital equipment, inventory, licenses, legal, marketing. Obviously, you need to get opening orders in and your overhead, rent, payroll, software, utilities, insurance. So you want to make sure you do a good job of really planning ahead for what it is that it's going to cost to start and run this business. So you can figure out how you want to fund you either bootstrapping or getting loans or angel investors or venture capital, et cetera. And then all the legal stuff. So legal and compliance, making sure that you have your entity formed properly, business name, trademarks. That's some of the fun stuff too. But licenses and permits, employment law contracts, all your security stuff, data security, and then your obviously industry regulations, health, safety, environmental, and financial regulations. And then all the operational structure. So what do you need to secure the location, the office? Where will it be? Zoning and lease terms, all of your suppliers and vendors, getting your technology stack up to date, your EMR, CRM, all the things, accounting software, et cetera, all your processes and SOPs for onboarding and accountability and quality control, and then all of your insurance stuff. So this is just sort of a laundry checklist of things that you'll need to set up the foundation. And I know this is a lot of information. Welcome to business ownership. The reality is when you start a business, you will do the best you can to cover all of your bases, but you can expect with certainty that plans will go awry. There will be things you overlooked. There will be new hurdles that you couldn't have anticipated. You just want to do the best you can ahead of time and work with an expert to help you get things set up properly. Business ownership is more responsibility, not less. So I know, look, for all of us, me included, who was like, I'm going to do this my own way and watch out world. I'm coming to start my business. Obviously, hindsight's 2020, but I feel like there are just so many more resources that you have available to you if you can plan ahead and make sure that you are doing it for the right reasons. As you advance, you'll have other people's livelihood in your hands. So you really need to invest in the mindset work and the habit stacking that will set you up for success. That's what we're helping you with inside of the Fierce Factor Society. So if you're on the fence about which move to make, take the small leap to join a community of business owners and leaders and see what it's like running in those circles, showing up to build something out of nothing and planning well into the future. And P.S., if you'd like a list of everything I shared with you today, just send me a DM on Instagram at Kaeli.Lindholm, Kaeli, and I'll send you a free business startup checklist. I hope this episode has been helpful and inspires you to set out on the most rewarding challenge of your life or to reevaluate your timing and drive that you desire to be self-employed, right? Either way is a flex. It's just about making the decision that's right for you. Okay, Goddess, I will chat with you same place, same time next week. See you in the society. Listen, leader, if you're vibing with me here, hang tight because I have a brand new resource for you. You are a successful, confident, powerful woman who just isn't into being average. No, you have a calling, and part of that calling is requiring you to level up. And I know that if you're working across the next $1 million milestone in your business, you need to be in the right circles. And perhaps that's why you found us. I'd love to invite you to join The Blueprint, a weekly resource for inspired, provocative thinkers who are taking this conversation to the next level. Get access to free business tools, podcast supplements, guideposts, and direct communication with me and my expert team. And of course, a masterfully curated circle of women making big moves and disrupting the status quo in aesthetics and wellness. You can link directly through the show notes or head to klcconsultants.com/blueprint. It's time to elevate. See you there, Goddess.